this. I see a post 52 minutes ago. Should I share that one, or I'll wait for the live to come up before I share it? Yeah, okay, cool, got it.
Yeah, just refreshing my page maybe. That's us live. So I'm sharing this into Ben's Business Book Club, which is my community of entrepreneurs and avid readers.
Excellent. Okay, I'm just going to share this just now. How do we share? So I'm just trying to find a way to share it on the PC and do it that way. Okay, Ben is now live. Share, there we are.
Okay, I'll get started. Phone call coming in. Okay, welcome everyone to Ben's Business Podcast. Ken's just sharing this onto his own community as well. So I'm here today with Ken Mack, and me and Ken know each other. I guess we found each other through the internet. And Ken is an investor and mentor. He teaches entrepreneurs how to acquire and scale eight-figure businesses. He's built multiple million-dollar businesses, and as well as that, he's done over 100 million in deals himself. And first thing I want to ask you, Ken Mack, is I don't know if you've got your vision board in front of you today. Is that possible to see that, or is it?
Absolutely.
Not? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to share that with you guys.
Yeah.
So, before I just flip the camera around, as we all know, it's very important to stimulate our minds with what we want in life. So we've got the pin boards with you put the things that you want to achieve. Everybody's got their different things in life that they want to achieve. So I thought, I want to get myself into the heart of Dubai Marina, and I want to be seeing the millionaires and the billionaires passing by my office window here in their very nice boats. And I want to be around, the right people. And for me, this was the best place to come. So I'm just going to get the camera and flip it around for you. I call this place the deal making factory. Here in Dubai, a deal making factory in Scotland. And we have another one over in Spain and Marbella. So yeah, this here is the view from the deal making factory. I call it the vision board. Down ahead of us is JBR, the very famous public beach in the Palm. And it's getting a little bit dark now, but we've got a lovely view right down the marina. So in fact, we've got the longest urban zip line in the world. The top of the tallest building you see up there. And the guys, every 5 minutes, you see a couple of guys flying past the office window on this zip line all the way down the marina, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And every so often, we see the guys jumping out the plane in front of us because we get skydived Dubai as well. So I just think that's really cool, it stimulates the minds. Mm-hmm. And as you know, mental stimulation is very important.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm here and I'm having a lot of fun, spending a lot of time in the office, waking up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning here. I don't know how that happened, but that's when I'm waking up. So as soon as I open my eyes, I'm just wide awake. Coming in here, spending anywhere between 10 to 14 hours a day, sometimes finishing a little bit early in the afternoon, but then I come back about now and I'll work here till about 9, 10 o'clock at night. So that's my routine. Yeah. Monday to Thursday, because now Sunday is the first day of the week here in Dubai, which is a little bit strange to people. So that's when the school start, and I quite like it because most of my business is done over in the Western world in the USA. So I can work in peace and I can work through my to-do list without getting pestered by other people and really get things done and get ready for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I just, tone it down again on Friday.
Yeah. Right.
It's a nice change, getting the opportunity to live in the different countries and having a home in Spain and Poland, because it keeps you keeps the mind stimulated. You know, the other dream of mine was to wake up one day and have a view of Africa. I think you've seen the penthouse we've got in Spain, and you know, from the office window, the view I've got there is of Africa, Gibraltar, and Spain. So again, it makes me very excited, and it makes me very determined to keep on going as hard as I can.
Yeah, it's an amazing view you've got. It's a great setup. Great to look out on to and inspire you every minute. So, I do have vision boards myself, and I think they're important. I do a lot of vision, and especially at the start of the year, just to plan 2021 and everything. So, and just like you're saying, be around things that inspire you. So, I'm very big on that as well. So I have a question. So, I believe that you're on a mission, Ken, to build wealth as a community with the people that are joining you with the business buying boot camp. So, and that's your kind of goal for 2021, I believe. I was wondering as well as that, like what sort of are your longer term visions and life goals with all of this as well?
Well, I would say that I reached my life goal in my 20s, which was to be able to live life on my own terms, to do what I want, go where I want, go where I want, and just you know, not have anybody control me, and you know, money controls you, and it's a tool, isn't it? And so I wanted to get to this stage in life where I had that level and access to capital that I didn't need to have that stress over me. So I was very satisfied when I reached that stage in life, and through my 30s I continued going hard. I would say that I started to burn myself out a little bit because I started at 20 years old, 16 years in the game, between starting businesses and acquiring businesses. So it was after our fellow Scotsman Dan Pena endorsed me last year, and he gave me the idea to go into the coaching and help. And he said I should help other entrepreneurs now that have had some serious experience in the industry. So you know, when you say building wealth as a community, that for me was the key. I was looking to create the biggest business buying community, or the most profitable business buying community in the world. So we've got the Business Buyers Tribe, which is a free of charge group, with nearly 2,000 entrepreneurs in there. So that's a lot of people for a very niche industry. So, and there's not many people in the world that are teaching M&A or acquisitions. So for me, the goal is to build a community of like-minded entrepreneurs where we can grow and become the most profitable community together. Of course, I've got the boot camp that I'm running, and that's, you know, a small number of people like to take things to the next level and be held at the hand and step by step be held accountable. So that's where I created the boot camp last year. It's been going very well. And then this year, this is going to be the last one I'm doing it until further notice, and I'm going to be more focusing on just building the community, the free community, and putting a lot of content out there as well, because I want to be known for helping people. That's my main goal. We just launched a public company as well, LBO Corporation PLC, so that again is going to demand a significant amount of my time and attention. Again, it's another reason why I'm spending more time at home in Dubai, because I want to connect with like-minded investors that can believe in their project and then invest into what we're doing. So I would say that would be the goal for me for 2021.
Yeah. Okay. I would actually I know you to a degree just through us our chatting through social media, and we've had a couple of calls and things, but I would like to get to know, and I'm sure everyone else would like to get to know who's Ken Mack as well. So just to learn a wee bit more about you, if you could take us back, sort of way back to before that, like maybe even before the 16 years ago when you got into all this, and where you think all of this started, and what specific event or events inspired all of this as well.
I would say that I lived a life, I didn't come from a life of money by any means. So we didn't have a lot, and but I wanted a lot, and I knew that I couldn't get it because we didn't have the resources to hand it to me. So that gave me the only options that I had to copy my dad, for example. He was self-employed and make money for myself. So I started at 10 years old where I built my first business, which was a paper round. So I had almost the whole street. It's called William Street in Argyll. And I think I made about £20 a week or something, but it was a lot of money for me. You know, a pound was a lot of money back then. So then that progressed. We moved house, and I decided I wanted to buy my first motorbike at 14 years of age. Of course, my parents weren't going to give me that. It was a dangerous machine and it cost money, so I decided to build a cleaning business. So I found a potential cleaning contract where they took me on self-employed. I think it was a little resort called Hafton, and I was cleaning all the patio furniture every weekend. And that was my first business at the age of 14, 15. Got into employment when I was in school as well, working in a call centre, selling loans, which gave me my sales experience. So I knew that sales was one of the most important skills to have. So I was working for Tesco Personal Finance at the age of 15, 16 in a call centre. So I finished school at 3 o'clock, and 3:30, 3:45, I would start work, finish at 10, and then at the weekends I would do 2 times 14-hour shifts. So I get a lot of customer service experience, a sales experience. So I looked upon that as an education, because I knew that the schooling system was a fraud. It was a little bit, it was different from everybody else. It wasn't going to give me what I was looking for. So I was almost happy to work for free to get the sales experience. I was working for £4 an hour at the time. So that continued up into the north of Scotland, got transferred to school there, completed my last year, and the call centre. In and out of jobs, I came to the conclusion I wasn't employable. I was, I don't know what it was that was about me, but I just couldn't hold a job down. I didn't like being told what to do. So I got to the stage where I was desperate to grow a big business, but I didn't have a clue what to do. So I thought, well, let's buy a business. Let's buy a cleaning business, because it's going to have everything, all the mechanics and all the people, all the systems there for me. It's like a business in a box. But how am I going to buy it with no money? So I found after phoning around many businesses for sale and pestering everybody, I finally found a lady who was selling a cleaning business that was happy to give me seller finance. I didn't even know that was a thing. I thought I'd managed to magically get this woman to agree to seller finance, but we call it deferred consideration in the UK. And then a family member loaned me a small amount of money as the down payment. So within 6 months, I had acquired this very nice cleaning business, started to scale the contracts, became very good at it. If I just rewind back, it was a window cleaning round I acquired first. I started bolting the businesses on together. I outgrew the window cleaning business and sold it to my dad's window cleaner. And that gave me a little bit of fruit to put into that cleaning business that I bought. So we ended up with banks and many contracts and a lot of employees all over the country. So that gave me my first 7-figure lift, and eventually I sold out to Mighty All Scotland Initial Rent-A-Cool. And before I knew it, I completed my first leveraged buyout. Before I didn't even know what a leveraged buyout was, an LBO. And then one thing led to another. I knew that this wasn't I didn't want to just have this as my life, being a slave in the business and not taking a wage for 2 years. It was a lot of blood, sweat and tears, but then one thing led to another. And I knew that there's 195 countries out there in the world, and the UK is very small. It's not far in the wind compared to the bigger picture out here. So I started to go further afield, and I thought, you know what, I got myself in a little bit of credit difficulty as well, almost bankrupt. And I thought, well, I can buy businesses in other countries and get, build up credit histories in other countries, so not to worry there. Right. Before I knew it, was out in Brazil and Paraguay, Argentina, Spain, and all over the place, up until, this time last year. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that's quite a journey. So like, what do you think was different about you? Like you said that like you thought school was a fraud, and you thought you knew that sales skills were important and all of that. You knew did you have any type of guidance to help you understand that, like for other people listening that might not think that way or haven't been brought up that way, where they even have like fears or concerns about taking such big risks to the degree you've taken? Is there anything you could tell them, like what might help them?
Yeah, if I rewind back to second year in school, I knew that I wasn't doing too well because I didn't have much interest in the schooling system. I thought, art, religious education, I don't want to become a minister. Art, I can't draw. The woodwork teacher a couple of years back has said to the guy, listen, man, I can't put this wood together. So if I want to build a shed, I'm going to pay the shed building guy to build me a shed. I said that's the best way for me to do it, is to pay the right people that have the skills to get them round about me to complete the task. So into sixth year, I knew that everybody else was going off to college or university. If you didn't have these grades, the UCAS thing, that you couldn't go to uni, and that was the best thing you could do was go to uni. And I didn't want to settle for second best. So I thought, my options are not too good here just now. And surely this can't be the only choice in life. Who has decided that this is because I don't like being told what to do, I question everything. Who are they to decide that this is the turning point in my life and I must do this, and this is the only thing or opportunity that I've got, otherwise my life is doomed. So I started to question the entire system and thought, this is not right.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, let's just take it as it comes. I don't believe in the system. It's a fraud. And, the teachers didn't take that too well. I was just very open with them. I said, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to fight for myself. And surely I was following very successful people. I thought, none of these courses that you're offering me are going to get me this lifestyle that I want. I want the best lifestyle. And he told me I was a dreamer. They call me an idle slacker. I remember that word.
Right.
Mac, you're nothing but an idle slacker. He said, so that's fine. I'm going to just go my own journey here.
Right.
So I started, as you know, I was working in the call center, transferred up here, started selling bits and bobs on eBay and some cars, and thought, I'm making more.
Yeah.
And I'm making more than I make here in a month. So what's the point of me staying in this job, becoming a slave to the system? But I'll just continue with the sales education I'm getting here. So I went part-time and eventually it was in and out a few other jobs before I eventually acquired the window cleaning round and the cleaning business. But I think that they manipulate you with desensitizing you in school. They don't teach you, like Robert Kiyosaki talks about, financial education.
Yeah. Yeah.
These are some very good books for people to start off with. All these Robert Kiyosaki books, but they don't teach you sales. They don't teach you financial education. They don't teach you the most important things because it's anti-system for them to do that. If they didn't do that, then there wouldn't be an economy. So they've got to enslave the masses and put people where they need to be and give them an easy option. They've got to give them the easy option. It's like ethical manipulation. So by desensitizing you and disempowering you, you've got to put your hand up to get spoken to. Do as you're told, wear the uniform. It's preparing you. It's grooming you for the bigger picture. But I was very self-aware at a young age, and I seen through the bullshit, and I said, I ain't buying that.
Yeah.
I'm not buying that at all. So I just went on, and all my other friends were going off to university, living the student life, and I'm busting my balls, trying to build these cleaning businesses and acquiring them. And I thought, listen, man, I'm going to become a millionaire before I'm 30. I'm going to drive a Ferrari before I'm 30. Don't know about you guys. You're going to go to college, be groomed again for another 4 years. No chance am I going to do that. So I went off on my own mission. It was quite lonely. I did what I said I was going to do.
I can relate massively to your sort of like beginnings as well, because like school wasn't for me either at all. I've noticed a big commonality trait in the successful entrepreneurs is they have the same sort of experience as us, where they like almost feel like outcasts in this world that everyone else is quite comfortable in, and then that kind of I see some type of fire it's put in you, similar to myself, that kind of drove you to do all of that stuff outside. So it's interesting.
Yeah, no, what you're saying is right, because it's very common. You're an entrepreneur. That we're like-minded, and we all get on very well together. We can have these immediate conversations where we spark, but I think it's in the blood. You can become, but the thing is, once the older that you get, the more difficult it comes to disconnect yourself from the system and stop living the lie. It is a bit like the Matrix. You are plugged into a system, but I see people that are 30, 40, 50 years old, and it takes them a bit of time, but they get it. And then that's when they start living their life, is once they take control of their life and their financial situation. Because, for me, again, I said, I'm not going to pay into a government pension scheme like some institution control, tell me what I need to pay and control the money that I'm paying. I said, this is not right. So, I don't even have a pension. I said, I'll buy properties. I'll make the money with acquisitions, and then I'll buy properties. And I said, that's a pension. There's an emergency pension. I'm thinking, well, why can't people see through this nonsense? I said, this is, don't get me wrong. We need the doctors and the lawyers, and some people like that, which is totally fine. But some people don't want to settle for that. Some people, they feel a little bit lost with the system. Maybe they haven't achieved the grades in school. So there are plenty other better options out there than following the system. And maybe it is that they want to open up a law practice or a surgery, which is absolutely fine. But everybody's got different things that they want in life. And for me, it wasn't settling for what I was getting. I didn't want to be served something on a plate. I wanted to cook the meal and eat what I want to eat. I'll make the rules. So I said, rules are there. You're going to create and make the rules, and some rules are there to be broken. It's just it's a bit of an illusion. A lot of smoke and mirrors that are out there, and it scares people, which I think is a little bit sad. It's not fair.
So I have some more questions, Ken. What along that journey that you shared with us as well, what's been the sort of biggest challenge or sort of hurdle or barrier that you kind of face, or like obstacle that you've had to overcome?
People.
Right.
Yeah, I would say that aligning yourself with the like-minded, especially if you come from a smaller town or a society where they're very systemized. So for me, people would bore me, but I was too polite to say, "Listen, man, you're boring me with your conversation here." So it was quite a lonely place, because I prefer to have my own company and do things on my own, and just socialize online with the like-minded. But here in Dubai, there's many like-minded on the same street that I'm on here just now. Barrier, because they're very systemized. They live Monday to Friday. They party at the weekends. And like Gary Vee says, oh, you guys are partying. I'm building an empire. He says, eat shit for the next 2 years and then caviar for the rest of your life. Very good sayings, Gary Vee. But for me, people were the biggest barrier, because I knew that I wasn't normal, which is fine. And normal is what the 99% of the rest of the world do. So I created a rule called the opposite rule. And I was always look at people and think, well, what would happen if I did the opposite of what you were doing? But I like to I've got a lot of friends that are different ages as well, and I'd always look at other people and think, if I was you at your age, would I be doing what you're doing just now? So I would question everything, all these strange things that people don't normally question. I've questioned them to make sure that I'm aligning my life in a laser focused path. And I'm always thinking 5, 10, 15, 20 years ahead on a mission, so that I know exactly what's happening. You've got to be very consistent. Laser focused.
And for you, when did things start working out? As in, like, when did it start to change for you? Was it just that moment you bought the cleaning business, or has it been more recently where you've actually felt like you've achieved your goal or you feel successful?
Do you know what? Probably when I started mentoring, because
Yeah.
I didn't really know what to expect.
Right.
Coming out, speaking out more in public, because I've started building up an amazing community of like-minded entrepreneurs and friends. So it's brought a lot more opportunities to the table. But I didn't feel that I was in a position to do that. You can't start mentoring and consulting if you've been in business for a few years. You've got to know the game inside out. So for me, it was a very interesting change. It was like the next chapter.
Yeah.
Already made, sizable, well, by the age of 30 years old. So it was on the money side of things. It's very comfortable. But got into the mentoring when I started helping people. It was challenging at first, but became a lot of fun.
Yeah. Was it always a goal to get to this, like that position where you're teaching people?
I didn't really see myself doing that. I couldn't have said it when it was 20 years old, am I going to be teaching people how to do this?
Yeah. It just kind of happened naturally then.
Yeah, well, it was Dan Pena that gave me the heads up and said, "This is what I should do. I should take the knowledge that I've got now." And he said that humanity advances because we share information with each other.
Yeah,
and that's why you go to school, because information's getting shared. We've got all of these books which are people sharing knowledge and information. And I'm going to write a book myself about acquisitions to help people.
Yeah.
Basically a manual, a Bible. So
Yeah.
people can go away that maybe doesn't have the money to have a mentor, and they can open the book and follow a system.
Yeah.
But sharing knowledge, I think, is the best thing that you can give. You're giving back to humanity.
Yeah, and I've heard you talk a lot about, like you brought up there, like we've all heard of that saying, knowledge is power, and you say your network as well as part of your power, your the people you surround yourself with. So you're saying that, like, I agree, like entrepreneurship is very lonely, and it has been for me for a long time, and I broke away from a lot of people, and I didn't really find people to connect with where I stay, and I found that quite a long journey, and it was quite, just had to then get, like you're saying, very comfortable and used to my own company. And it becomes quite enjoyable eventually, and then when you reach that level, you start to attract the right people into your life. But who at this stage do you aim to surround yourself with certain people? Do you just attract them? I've seen, like, you've been, like, pictures with Grant Cardone and Ty Lopez and Gary Vaynerchuk and everyone going to conferences and things like that. That's where I like to get myself into as well. But obviously these people are hard to access unless you pay. So on a sort of day-to-day basis, who do you choose to surround yourself with?
Yeah, just rewind it back when you mentioned knowledge is power. I would say knowledge is potential power,
yes.
Backed by strategy and action.
Yeah.
We can sit here, we can read lots of books, which is fine. But if you want to do something about, if you want to read them, it's absolutely fine. But you want to do something about it and put it into practice, then it's potential power.
Yeah.
Backed by action. So just wanted to drop that in there. I'm sure you'd agree with me.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
But who do I aspire to be? I just like to be myself. There's a friend of mine here in Dubai, and he says, "Be yourself, because everybody else is already taken."
Yeah.
So I know what you're saying. You've got all of the ultra successful entrepreneurs, but I'm just on my the Ken Mack Show mission to do what I'm doing. I don't know anything different. It's just the language that I speak, the language of business.
Yeah.
Helping people and be known for. I just want to be the guy that's known to have helped Mr. Joe Blogs reaching this level in his life where he's now he's found happiness, because for me, money buys happiness. I don't care what anybody says. There's very few unhappy people that I know that are wealthy, and it certainly solves a lot of problems.
Yeah, and that's true. It's hard to be calm and stress free when you've not got money. So absolutely. It's very true. So in terms of onto like business acquisitions, I have a couple of questions about that. So it's something I'm interested in. I've been studying a lot into it and learning quite a bit, and I was on your workshop the other day as well. So in terms of you talked about a couple of countries that maybe you don't work in, and I was wondering like what your strategies work globally, but is there any specific countries that it might not work, and why? What countries don't you work in, and why?
Okay. Yes, thanks for coming on the mastermind we've run. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Countries that I've worked in the developing countries, which are challenging, especially somebody coming from a safe country like Scotland. But for me, I stay away from doing acquisitions, for example, here in Dubai, because the laws are a little bit different, and leverage buyouts are high risk because you're leveraging a business, and you could end up over leveraging a business with too much debt. And if that happens, as you know, I don't know if you know, but in Dubai, you can't go bankrupt. And if you do, you'll end up in the clink. So for me, that scares me. I'm quite happy to take that risk in other countries, but not here. But in terms of leverage buyouts, you can pretty much practice this in any country. Some countries have better access to financial mechanisms than others. But of course, the simplest way to do a leverage buyout is to buy a business where you get seller finance backed by a small down payment. So I always do say you could buy a business with little to no money down. And if you look, for example, on bizbuysell.com in the USA, 90% of those deals, when you filter the results, are seller finance. The sellers are happy to accept seller finance. I'll give you another example. In the USA as well, we get the SBA, the Small Business Administration. It's called the SBA 7A loan program. And it's a government-backed scheme where they will guarantee 90 to 95% of the loan, where you've just got a small down payment to make. So you get seller finance, you get the SBA 7A loan, and not only that, you get many other different mechanisms that you can access within a company to leverage its credibility, to increase the liquidity, to buy it out. And leverage buyouts are done on a massive level. They can be done on a massive level. There's a very good book, and the movie is on YouTube, and the viewers can check it out. And it's based on a true story, and it's called Barbarians at the Gate. There is a book as well, which is fun to read, and it opens the eyes to what's possible. But for me, buying a business that's more than 10 years old is what I'm looking for, preferably 15 to 20. And say it takes you 1 year to buy that business. Most businesses, within 10 years, 90% of them are going to fail. It is what it is. And that are the stats for so many reasons. And go through all these years myself in business. Now I know why these businesses fail. I've made the mistakes. I've been insolvent, been in administration. I know the crap with everything and how it all works.
Yeah.
It's so easy to run a business into the ground by doing something that you think is the right thing, or just making a simple mistake.
Yeah.
So by buying into a business that's 15 years old, for example, it's like jumping into a TARDIS or the time machine and going many years into the future.
Yeah.
Because you built into say a 5 million or 10 million pound company that's got all of the systems in place, it's got all of the staff. But for me, I'm not just buying the business, I'm buying the people, and then the people build the business. And I'm teaching my guys not to buy yourself a job, because coming from the mentality that we come from, we've got this thing that we need to have a job. Give me a job, pay me, I want to work for a salary. Salary employees are the poorest people on the planet. But I will teach you how to work above the business, not in the business or on the business. You're going to buy into a business that's got enough EBITDA, which is the magical figure that we use to value a business. That's the earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, amortization, which is very profitable with, say, let's say the business has 1 million of EBITDA, that means we have 1 million of earnings before interest and tax, depreciation, amortization. And we will be looking at having a nice business that is in profit, that once we leverage the business, we've got enough cushion to allow the business to remain profitable, pay off any loans that we've raised through the business by leveraging its credibility, the seller, for example, and of course something left over for us. And we would hope to pay that business off within 3, 5, 10 years, depending what business it is.
Yeah.
It's a very nice way of jumping ahead into the future, where you've got this infrastructure of people, experts in the business, that are very well versed on how everything works, that can keep you right, say, no, Ben, this is the way that we do it, and this is why, and these are our advisors here in the business.
Yeah.
So for somebody that's never started a business before in their life, this, in my opinion, is the best way to start. And now, I would say that we're in the greatest transfer of wealth that the world has ever seen, because the baby boomers are retiring at 10,000 a day in America and Europe, and most are business owners, and most of these businesses are not selling. A broker will sell 1 or 2 out of 20 businesses, and that's it. So there's a huge opportunity, and with the virus as well, it's brought an abundance of opportunity now as well. Last year in March, we went through what I call the disbelief stage, where we had this situation, and the Prime Minister said, we're going to turn the tide and everything will go back to normal in, I don't know, it was 2 or 3 weeks or 2 or 3 months. But I said, no, something's not right, and this is going to take us maybe 2 or 3 years, maybe 5 years. And people thought it was crazy. Back in March, I said, no, I'm going to prep and get ready for 5 years ahead. So now I need to change the strategy and be careful that I don't buy a business that if we're in a situation this time next year, which we are, and it's getting worse, that this business is going to be affected. So with the mentality back in March, we were in the disbelief stage. Q4 last year to Q1 this year, we're now in the acceptance stage. And now I'm noticing that sellers are very motivated, and they're even more motivated to get rid of the businesses, which means that we have more opportunity. But it just means that we have to do double due diligence in the businesses, because we don't want to, we need to be careful watching the seller isn't trying to get out of the business out of desperation, or in case something is wrong with the business. And that's why we're targeting essential infrastructure businesses now, to be certain that they're COVID proof and they're recession proof pre-2007.
Yeah. So essentially old, not old, but if 10 to 15-year-old businesses, it's like they've done the marathon and you take the baton off them and finish, just take it basically. And that makes sense to me, because I've, like you're saying, I've been in business for 10 years as well. And at the beginning, I was really just creating that, like, as you say, a job for myself. And then as we learn from Robert Kiyosaki and to build your asset column rather than create businesses, create jobs for yourself. And like you're saying, you've talked about the term, I think Dan Pena talks about it as well, the quantum leap. And that's really what we're doing. We're just going at, someone else is doing the marathon, we're just going right to the finish line. And
quantum leap advantage, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. And what you said as well about the baby boomer market is something I've been studying as well. And so other people that are listening are unsure what that means. It's, I think after the World War, there was a influx of people having children and big families, and a lot of people were born in that period. And then fast forward to now, they're getting to that elderly age, and a lot of people are an elderly age, and they're selling off their businesses because they're retiring and going into that stage of their life. So they're not interested in earning money. They've done their work, and they're just wanting rid of their business due to retirement and as you said, some like people sell businesses, health issues as well. So that was going to be my other question, was just like, why is now the time to acquire businesses? And I think you kind of covered that with these opportunities with what's happening with COVID plus the baby boomers.
Like double pressure, you know, a lot of these baby boomers now, they're getting old now. And I've been speaking with a lot of sellers that are 70, 80 years old, and they're still working in the business, especially I notice in the USA. There's many sellers that are 80 years old that are desperate to get rid of their businesses. It could be health is a motivate. We only deal with a motivated seller, and we pre-qualify the deals before we take them on. Otherwise, it's a waste of everybody's time. So we're looking at a very particular demographic to target, but we see a lot of sellers that are just burnt out. We try and target businesses that are healthy, so they've got healthy EBIT, because if you're trying to buy a business off of somebody who's 40, 50 years old, that's it's not so much a profitable business. It's making a bit of money. He's living a lifestyle, but he needs that money to go and fund or do the next venture. To me, that's a red flag, and it's not what we're looking for.
Yeah.
So we're looking at sellers that are 60 plus years old, that are maybe burnt out. They've had their glass of prosecco, as they say, or they've got health conditions, or it's just time for them to move on. But the business is that profitable that they've already built up a pot of money, that anything over and above the sale is a bonus for them.
Okay.
And for them, the business legacy continues, and the staff that have been employed in that business as well, which obviously they've built up relationships with, they get to be kept in the job, and they don't need to close the doors.
Yeah.
But it's the best way to fast track wealth.
Yeah.
You know, many people say, if you want to be wealthy, buy property, but it's hard to get wealthy with property. You know, you could start, by the way, with a job, you know, make money, get mortgage, get buy to lets. It's difficult, but you're never going to build wealth. Maybe you'll make £1 million in 20 years' time when you sell off the properties. But that's more of a security. But what I've learned by surrounding myself with ultra wealthy people and billionaires is that they start or buy businesses, and then the businesses generate income, and then they take the income and buy commercial and residential real estate with that and other assets. They fill up the asset column. So so I would say the greatest path to generate wealth is by acquisitions. You can start a business, but startups are for suckers, is what I say. You're better to acquire the business. It's a long road ahead. But like my friend that's just underneath the office here in this big yacht, he started a business and he went from zero to billion status in 5 years with a hard drive company called ESIS. But that's not very common. It's more common to accumulate wealth by acquiring businesses, or maybe buying a franchise, an already established system, or a McDonald's or a Subway. It's to go into business without having this. It's difficult without having any knowledge or knowing what's what. It takes a bit of a set of balls to do that, and I don't want to stop anybody from starting a business. I think it's a good thing to do. But it's there are many options. There are many options out there to building your wealth without acquiring a business.
Yeah, and this is why Ben's Business Podcast was created, and why I'm interviewing you, and why we're here today to educate people on the alternative options they have, rather than just get a job or start a business, start up from scratch and plow through that 16 years that you and I went through, and just jump a bit, take that quantum leap, and have more options and choices.
Exactly. For us to throw some ideas onto the table for the listeners, they could acquire property with no money down, LBO property. So they could approach landlords on a rent-to-rent basis. So they rent the property on a management contract, and they're going to re-rent the property out. They could prepare the property as a house of multiple occupation with an option to buy, so that you say to the landlord, after 3 years, I will agree a price. Now, this is the price we're going to agree to buy the property for. You sell the rooms off in the property, and the property is now generating an income. You've got the money as a down payment immediately. You can pay that to the landlord. You've got money to do any refurb that you need to do. You can guarantee the landlord rent to incentivize them. pay the money to set up a company, an SPV, which stands for Special Purpose Vehicle, get the money paid into the company, and then approach the bank in 6 months or a year and a half down the line, once you've generated enough money to pay the deposit. So of a 5-bedroom property, you can make £1,500, £2,000 per month easily.
Yeah.
Over the period of time, you should have enough money to pay the deposit. So you've just bought yourself a property with no money down into the company, and everybody wins. So that's just something off the cuff, without having to go and work for somebody. Of course, if you work for somebody, you can take the money, pay your tax on the money, and then you put that money into property. But that company that you set up, you just have the money generating within that company. Don't pay it to yourself. If you're planning buying more property, don't pay it to yourself. Keep it in the company. Then the company buys, I think Robert Kiyosaki talks about this, the company buys another property. But the poor mindset says, no, I want to take the money out of the company. I want to take a salary, which you're going to get smashed with 20% tax, and then I'm going to use that to pay a deposit. Why would you do that if the company has the money to pay the deposit? You've not needed to pay tax on that money because it's not income, it belongs to the company, and then the company acquires another property. So that's just another, there's so many ideas out there. So many ideas out there that you can go with to break away from the system and create a better life. Some people call it financial freedom.
I am conscious of time. We set about 45 minutes aside for this, so we have got a few live viewers, and there's been, I think, a couple of questions. So Kieran Mackay, I think he was in the workshop with us last week or the beginning of the week. He's asked, what's the plans with the public company? I think it was directed to you, Ken. Will that help mentees also acquire businesses?
Yes, it's a good question. We called the company, first of all, LBO. That's what it says in the tin. It's a leverage buyout corporation. And we're going to, instead of, it's more difficult to approach investors for smaller deals, for smaller amounts of money. So I decided to create a public structure to introduce capital into the company from investors that can have a bigger piece of the cake. So it's going to acquire multiple companies. The shareholder or investor will buy the shares in the company, and they will not own just the shares in one company, they will own shares across multiple companies. Therefore, it's easier for us to access investors' capital, especially once we list it on the AQSE. And we're going to use this to facilitate the deals to help out our mentees that are in the boot camp and already in our private circle. We're building up a private network as we grow the mentorship program, and we get the online course as well, which is called Acquisitions Made Simple. For any of the listeners that want to check that out, it's kenmac.com/online course. And anybody that's a part of that, we will use the public company to make an acquisition if the company stacks up. And it just means that they will own some share capital in the company. LBO are going to own share capital in the company, and the investors own share capital in the public company. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, it's a great idea. That was a good question, Kieran. I have one last question, Ken. It's one that I was thinking about when we had our workshop. So does it matter, do you think, that if you're buying into a business, you have to have a passion or love or enjoy what the business is engaged in? Or do you need to have particular knowledge about that industry or business when you're buying?
Good question as well, because there's a lot of bullshit out there, excuse my French, and they're saying follow your passion. But I can tell you this, that I hate football. I can't even kick a ball, and there's nothing that bores me more than football. I'm more interested in the numbers and the business side of things. But I ended up acquiring a football club in Spain.
Okay.
So absolutely, you do not need to have a passion. Of course, if you have industry expertise in the said industry, it is going to help you.
Okay.
However, if you don't have the expertise, you can bring in the experts, give them a slice of the cake, and when you approach the seller, let's say that your partners that you have approached the deal with have 30 years experience, and you're approaching the seller with 30 years experience. Your team has 30 years experience in the industry.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm not going to be the director of the company. I want to be the shareholder of the company. The director of the company is somebody who I'm going to employ and put in the driver's seat, who can leverage his contacts and drive the team forward.
Yeah.
So for me, it's more of the love for business as a part, rather than the love for making the product or whatever the business does, the guys kicking the football.
Yeah.
So maybe some people are going to disagree with me, but that's my opinion.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
following
understand.
your
It's like
passion
the
is,
financial.
if I was to say, I love music and I want to follow my passion, being a DJ and producing music, I think it's going to be very difficult for me to. I've got a lot of friends in the music industry, which I respect, and they do very well. Some of these guys are they're pretty famous, but they still don't make a fortune. They don't make the level of wealth that I am looking for. But everybody's looking for different things.
Right.
The music and business for me are my passions. But that's their passion, and they follow their passion. But for me, business is a passion, music is a passion. So we're going to do a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I said to myself, well, let's get to the level where I'm looking to get to now, so I can get that access to that knowledge. And if I want to verge into the music industry, then I'm going to have the knowledge in order to market myself and take myself forward in the best direction possible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a brilliant answer.
It's a personal choice. It's a personal choice. You can go in and work with horses, and there's no money with the horses. You can go work in farming. There's not much money in
Exactly.
farming.
It's a philosophy of your.
Some people have the obsession with the animals. I've got nothing against it if that's what they want to do, but I don't want people to be disillusioned with smoke and mirrors, where and they just need to look at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And look at some of the wealthier people like Robert Kiyosaki that come out in public, and they do a very good job of educating the masses. But money does buy happiness.
Yeah.
I've got a big smile on my face. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah. So that's, I think I agree with you that it's more so following your purpose and not just like what you love to do and passion, like is what you're sort of guided towards that you keep wanting. So if you're saying business is your passion, then you're technically you're living it, even if you own a football team, but you're just doing the numbers part of it above the business with the people below you, and it's like true business ownership than like creating another job.
Exactly, man. Would I be awake at 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, annoying my wife, folks just trying to sleep in bed, sending emails? If I didn't enjoy doing it, I'm not doing it because I have to. I can live off my investments very easily.
Yeah.
But I'm doing it because I just like to wake up. I like to live my life, and I just love to do what I do. So.
Yeah. Favorite book?
Favorite book. Just looking at my books here on the underneath the computer. Do you know what? I think Grant Cardone's book, The 10X Rule, is a good book.
That's a great book, yeah.
I think that's a good book.
Yeah.
And his other book, Sell or Be Sold.
Yeah.
And I like to listen to him as well. I find him a very interesting person to listen to. He's got a good speaking voice. So definitely Robert Kiyosaki books as well.
Yeah.
That's why I've got two of the same books here. I've got the audio book as well.
Yeah.
There's another book as well, which is really good, it's by this guy here, I've got my desk, by Robert Ringer, and it's called Looking After Number One. That's another, there's so many good books.
It's a hard question.
It's hard. It's hard to say what is your favorite book, but I can tell you books that I like. Let me just take a quick look at my audio.
So it could be a two-part question. It's like, what's your favorite book, Ken? And what book would you recommend mostly to other entrepreneurs?
There's just so many books. Let me a second. Yeah, Looking Out for Number One, Robert Ringer.
Yeah.
It's a great book. Why the Rich Get Richer by Robert Kiyosaki. Fake is another good book which he's just written, which explains everything that we've just been speaking about, the system, the whole fake system, the fake teachers. Sales and marketing. Every entrepreneur has to be a salesman. If they're not a salesman, you're going to have a lot of problems. Everything, like Grant Cardone says, everything in life is the result of a sale or a commission. Even when you're going looking for a lady, you're selling yourself to the lady, and the lady's a commission.
Yeah.
So yeah, sell or be sold. And I think Jordan Belfort's book Way of the Wolf is and also a very good book because it talks about the straight line selling system. So because they don't teach you sales in school, it's a very important book that you've written, a great system.
Mm.
But now that I can see my books here, this is a very good book, and it's you'll probably know this one. It's almost like the Book of Forbidden Knowledge. It's called The 48 Laws of Power.
Yeah, but I've
This one,
actually, surprisingly, I've not read that, but I've read some of Robert
you need
Greene's
to
stuff.
read this book.
Yeah, yeah,
It's by Robert Greene. You have to read this book. It's a very, very important book.
it's
Of
almost,
course, The Art of War. Yeah, there's a few recommendations for you there anyway. But these
yeah,
are
yeah,
books that have got audio book versions and the hardback. I like to touch it, smell it, and feel it. But
yeah.
these are good books.
Yeah, like you're saying with Grant Cardone, it's great listening to him because he's very motivational when you're in
Yeah.
the 10x rule. I went through that a good few times just an injection, a bit of a kick up the ass, really.
Yeah, you know, he talks about doing things 10 times bigger, which can be it can be hard to put that together. But you know, if you get anything out of the book, it stimulates the mindset and it just pushes you to just go that extra
Yeah,
mile.
yeah. And you see him, and you've seen him in person as well. I've seen him in Glasgow, and he is living that the 10x rule. He came and he did an amazing speech and educated us, and flies away on his jet, and he's off into doing much bigger deals, and so he's truly living that and trying to like perform it. It's good to learn from real real people like that as well.
Absolutely. If I was to ask you the question, what would your three favourite books be?
Hmm. So I have like a top shelf that I always look at, but anything by Will Durant. It was Ty Lopez that recommended his books to me.
What was the guy's name? Sorry, Will.
Will Durant, Durant.
Okey-doke.
Any books by him? He wrote the book Story of Philosophy. This one here,
The Story of Philosophy. Excellent.
and the Story of Civilization. They're by far my favourite books, but they're bigger than the Bible, each one of them. And The Law of Success by Napoleon Hill.
That's a great book. Got that one as well. Law of Success.
Yeah. Which is really just an expanded version of Think and Grow Rich.
Yes. Fantastic book. What's
So
the third book?
Yeah, and the third, I would have to say, like, it's a tricky one, eh? I would have to say Rich Dad Poor Dad. That made a big difference to me.
It's an amazing book, and I think that anybody listening to this show now should jump on iBooks or Audible and buy Rich Dad,
Yeah,
Poor Dad.
yeah,
Because it's an eye-opening book. It's a fantastic book. That was one of the first books that I get introduced to back in the day.
yeah, yeah. It's changes everything. You're like, it's not one to be read once as well. It's reading it every year. It just sinks it in a wee bit more. It gets you thinking that way.
Absolutely. It's just one of these books you can listen to over and over again and brainwash yourself with.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Brainwash yourself and wash everything else out.
It's very important.
Yeah, cool. I appreciate your time, Ken. This was amazing. So let everyone else know how they can find you. A wee bit more about a wee links to your boot camp, business buying boot camps, and anything else. How we can find you on social media.
Yeah, sure. So for anybody who wants to get involved in what it is that we're doing as a community, it's a free community, so it doesn't cost anything. It's always going to be free. It's called the Business Buyers Tribe. Just search for the group on Facebook and one of the admins will let you in. I've started a YouTube channel as well, so you can find me on YouTube. I'm going to start pushing content out once we reach a certain number of subscribers. Can you hear me okay there, Ben? I think the screen is frozen.
Yeah, just said in there. Did you say Business Buyers Tribe?
Yeah, so it's called the Business Buyers Tribe. So it's free of charge, 1,700 plus people. And in there, we're going to be sharing up. There's a lot of experienced deal makers in there, and the plan is to become the most profitable business buying community in the world. So we do have guys in the tribe that want to take things a little bit further. For those that decide to do that, we've got the boot camp, and it's on my website for more information. It's called kenmac.com/bootcamp. There are no more upcoming events at the moment. We've got one coming up on Sunday, and that'll be for 3 months. And we've got one VIP space, one executive seat left. Then it's sold out. We've got no other courses until further notice. I'm not private mentoring, as I don't like selling my time for money. Stopped doing that in July last year. I prefer to do it as a group and working together as a small community of entrepreneurs. So we're doing it that way now. And we've got an online course for those that don't have access to as much capital, and it's kenmac.com/online course, and that's called Acquisitions Made Simple. And we've got the entire acquisitions process broken down into 20 odd bite-sized segments with all of the resources that you need, all of the deal-making templates, documents, my financial Rolodex, and access to all of my contacts. So it's a very good course. It's well worth the money, and it's an investment in your knowledge. It's going to pay you dividends and the best interest rate for the rest of your life. I absolutely guarantee and promise you that. But for those that are in the boot camp, I've got a financial brokerage called Macquan Financial Services. For those that are in the UK, I will be arranging the funding for our deals, which is it's a unique selling point that we've got over any other acquisitions program out there, because we physically fund them ourselves.
Yeah.
Through our own back office system. We've got the contacts with the underwriters and the financial institutions. I think that everybody should at least join the tribe. Nobody needs to sign up for any of the courses or anything. It's just, I don't push it at all. I've got no heavy sales and marketing. We don't run any adverts or anything like that. And of course, I'd like you to join my YouTube channel. We just started it. There's about 400 subscribers, but as soon as we hit 1,000, I'm going to start pushing the content out. And the YouTube channel is going to be very heavy on how to do this, how to do that. So I want to build a system so that really you don't need to pay for any courses. Everything is there, but because you get the information from me, then I would like to be known for being the person that's helped you get to where you are. So that's the whole thought behind the method behind the madness.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Thanks for sharing all that, and I really, like I said, thanks for coming on, and I'm glad we made this happen after discussing it back and forth for about a year.
Yeah, thanks a lot for all your patience. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun.
Cool. Well, it's good to get to know you better, Ken, as well. I appreciate this.
Absolute pleasure. And if you're ever in town here in Dubai, be sure to give us a shout. And of course, if anybody who's listening is venturing over to Dubai, I'll be very happy to meet you for a beer or a coffee. Just hit me up with a message. You'll find me on Facebook. If you just search facebook.com/I am Ken Mac. And if you just follow my profile, and you just make sure to click the see first so that you see my posts. I do put out a lot of valuable content. So you can be sure to have positivity only. And if you're ever in town, hit me up with a message. I'd like to meet you.
Yeah, and I would agree with that workshop, the free workshop you done, and all the content you've been putting out. I was saying before we jumped on live here that I was complimenting the amount of content, valuable content you're putting out. So I highly recommend that everyone in my community as well goes and follows Ken, because it's super valuable. So thanks for everyone joining us.
I'll drop that in there. It's Ken Mac Official is the Instagram channel.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, on Instagram.
I speak to everybody. The stream as well, Ken.
Say again.
After we're done, put some links in the video.
Course, yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah, I'm very approachable, and I speak to many people that I don't know. Every day I'm answering questions, and I just like to communicate with people and speak and help strangers. So I'm thinking if I can help at least 3 or 5 people answering questions a day, and it makes me feel it's like a sense of fulfillment. It just makes you feel good.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm just going to end that there.